That was very cool. I was just reading this is actually from their debut EP. Quite impressive. I liked it a lot. I'm
Yeah,
curious to
Very
hear
much
your
on the
thoughts as
indie
well.
front. A lot more of the indie kind of style of music, right? But reminds me of Monsters and Men, if you ever heard them. It's that kind
Yeah.
of like really cool kind of like atmospheric indie music, but I think it kind of leans more over to the kind of emo side of things in terms of the lyrics and stuff. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and kind of grounded in folk as well, I feel.
yes,
Definitely.
yes,
Definitely a lot of elements of that.
Yeah.
100%.
I found something. I really liked the guy's voice. His voice is really cool. Really, really
Amazing.
cool.
Yeah.
It reminds me a bit of Kings of Leon-esque vibe, you know, with that sort of vibe. He's got a quite a unique sound in that sense.
Yeah.
But I loved it when the drums started going really fast. And it
Yeah,
started
like with
building
the
up towards the end.
hi-hat.
Yeah, the hi-hat. Yeah, you heard the
Yeah.
hi-hat going, and you can hear it going, and it was building up and up and up, and it was just adding all the elements of the track, the instrumental sides coming together to really
Yeah.
build up this crescendo at the end, which I really
Yeah.
liked. Yeah.
Yeah, you see, comparing this with the last song, I feel like this one has something really new. You know, it's
Yeah.
a child of its times. You know, this is a song from this year. You know, it's taken bands like Ben was saying of Mice and Men that and kind of built on that. I feel like they've been inspired also by, you know, things like Tame Impala. They're a little more chilled, more indie than Tame
Yeah.
Impala.
You know
But
that sort of.
Did you mean of
That-
Monsters and Men?
What? Sorry?
Did you mean of Monsters and Men? Of Mice and Men? Isn't that a book?
No, I meant of Monsters and Men. No, of Mice and
Of
Men.
Mice and Men. That's a very,
it's something
very different style of
completely
music.
different. But that's a band, you know,
That
that I
metal
listen
band,
to
isn't it?
a lot. So I think that's probably why. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, no, I meant that I feel like they've learned lessons. Like MOY has learned lessons from some of the big bands in the past few years, and has come
Yeah.
out with their own sound, which I think is very cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what's interesting as well? I'm just getting it up on Spotify now, but these came up on a playlist for me. But I mean, they get 29,000 listeners a month, Moy, on Spotify, which in the grand scheme of things is absolutely nothing, is it? That's quite small
Yeah.
time.
It's very
Yeah.
But it'd be really interesting to watch their progression over the next few years, especially as like kind of post-COVID hits and festivals are opening up and people can tour again. I'd love to be able to watch them grow, because I think they have that potential to be really, really quite a successful band.
I think you
Yeah.
should keep an eye on them, definitely. I
Mm.
think I'm just gonna quickly jump in there because I quickly had a look on their Instagram page and quickly gave them a follow using our account, and I was having a look, and they've only got 1,000 followers, and their top track on Spotify is No Talks, the best chat, and that's from last year. So they're obviously getting some sort of attention because they've got 200,000 listeners on that track, which is quite interesting because 200,000 listeners, you think that's impressive, right? But then only 1,000 likes on Instagram, which is interesting because I think with new music and, you know, younger people listening, you know, anything they find they will straight away like, and they share it with their friends, etc. I'm curious to see how they grow and progress in that side.
No, but I mean, I think you can explain that easily because realistically, when you follow playlist on Spotify, how often do you go on each band's profile and then go on their Instagram? You know, you might like the song, but you just kind of listen to it, no?
We do that. We do exactly that. And we do that because we are sharing this sort of music. I guess not everyone is like us. So
no. I'm saying, okay, maybe we do because of this, but I'm saying normal people, because you're saying, oh, it has 200,000 listens on the song, but then only 1,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
But, you know, you may listen to the music, but then you don't do the research into the musician to see their Instagram. I mean, personally, I don't think it's important necessarily to see the aesthetics of a band to be able to appreciate their music.
No, you're right.
I agree. And also, just to add to what you're saying, Jacopo, is, you know, it's almost not uncommon for a band to have a song that goes kind of, call it viral in a way. They get 200,000 listeners and all that sort of stuff, but they got 1,000 on their Instagram. It doesn't match up like that. But what's interesting is complacency comes into view here, and this is what's going to be interesting because we can all kind of like probably relate. If you released a song and it got 200,000 listeners on Spotify, you'd be thinking, right, this is my big break. I'm going to kill it. I'm going to be touring. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. It's not how it works. 200,000 listeners on Spotify. It's not that much. It's not that much. How many people have Spotify? I reckon 70 million people, probably.
Oh, probably more, I think.
Yeah, probably more. Probably even double, right? It's crazy. So it's amazing to hear that they've had a bit of viability come their way, and the fact that a lot of people, 200,000 people, if you think that in a room, it's a lot of people, right? But it isn't we've made it level, and if you get complacent, it's only going to be to your detriment. So for them, the pressure's on. Pressure is on. People have reacted to it in a way which is like, yeah, we like this, I'll listen to it. 200,000 people have said that. That's good. But what comes next is important. It's that like second album syndrome, isn't it?
Well, I mean, this is only, I think this is the EP, right? So therefore,
it's their debut.
Yeah, it's their debut.
What I mean is second album syndrome is you have an album which does well, great, but then second album comes and you flop. This is just modern age of that. With you have a song that does well on Spotify, the pressure's on now for you to deliver the next time, and without that,
I think it's also difficult nowadays because you want to release songs and EPs separately in order to build up the following, but at the same time, you don't have that strength of having one album.
Yeah.
If you have, a set, let's say, of 12 songs which work together well, and you create a piece that is interconnected and people recognize as a good effort, then I think that increases also your likelihood of being recognized as a musician, as a band. One more thing I wanted to add was I just looked up the statistics on Spotify. So they had 345 million active users in Q4 2020, 155 million subscribers.
That's impressive if you think about it.
Wow.
It's a lot of people, isn't it? And I think Jacopo, touching on that note in that sense, and I know what Ben you're saying about the second album syndrome, but realistically, I don't think they're there yet. Anyway, I think they still haven't released a proper album, so I don't think you can judge them yet in that sense. But I do think with when it comes to Spotify and having near 200 million listeners, or whatever it is, 150 million listeners, and there are so many playlists now. People just listen to playlists. And they just listen to a playlist and they'll put it in the background or whatever it is. And those listens might be just that. And I think that's the difference between us growing up listening to music to what it was now. For example, we didn't have these playlists that were around to listen to.
Yeah, exactly.
We would go out and listen to music and buy music to listen to, whether that would be download on iTunes or whether that would be an actual CD or an MP3 or whatever it is. But
things we never did, like LimeWire and Napster.
LimeWire. Yeah, the amount of viruses I got.
Email.
I don't know what you're talking about. What's LimeWire?
Really? No, exactly. I said things we never did.
Oh, okay. There you go. All right.
So just to say though, just before we move on, what you were saying, Mike, it's so true in the fact that we've worked with artists before. I used to do it as like a job booking people, but like you'd get these DJs who, one guy, I forget his name. I'm not going to out him anyway, but I don't remember his name. Had over 1 billion streams and plays on Spotify and YouTube combined.
Wow.
So with that, you think big. No, could never get booked because it was just playlisted. And a play on these playlists, whether it's on YouTube or Spotify, probably counts as 30 seconds of someone listening to it and changing it. So you can go around banging about how you've had over 1 billion streams, but that does not directly translate to success in the slightest. because it's so accessible these days. It's not the days of sending a cassette tape or a CD record label and hoping some A&R guy listens to it. It's not that anymore. You can be so accessible, and you get playlisted by one big playlist on YouTube. You get 1 million plays, but that does not mean that you are a big Don Calvin Harris or whoever you want to put it as a DJ in this case. You know?
Yeah. I think it's interesting as well, though. On that note, I mean, people do just listen to playlists, and they will listen to songs, and then they'll go, cool, that song's nice, I'll like it, and I might save it, but they won't do the research, like we've said, and go in there and be like, I'm going to follow this band because I like this band. Because I used to do that all the time. I remember when I first listened to Enter Shikari, I was like, these guys are amazing. I love them. So I'm going to follow them. I remember on MySpace following them and like going into everything. And I do that with bands because I see it almost as a community, you know, like you follow that band, you want to listen to them again, you want to see them live, etc. But I don't think the new listener does in that sense. They see it as a song, they have it on their playlist, it's cool, move on, kind of thing.
No, you're exactly right. I think it was very different when we were growing up, and once people started listening to things like this with playlists, this whole community aspect just kind of disappears. You know, and the, I guess the feeling connected to bands disappears. You know, when I was growing up, I really felt connected to these bands. Like when I was going to their gigs, you know, we were part of a community when we went to some of these gigs.
Mm-hmm. And that's one reason why we still follow some of these bands. Like, for example, if you look at August Burns Red, like, we keep going back to August Burns Red. But
let's talk about Alizana or Miss May I. No. Oh, we'll have to show you guys. One day we will publish a picture, guys, which is Mike and I at the Miss May I gig, like 10 years ago, probably.
Yeah, that was good. That was. But
so
again,
let's talk about Miss May I instead.
We met the band, didn't we? We met them. We had a chat with them. We built that community. I actually encouraged. I liked Miss May I. I liked him even more after I met them because I really wanted to listen. I was like, these guys are cool. I want to meet them. I want to listen to them. I want to, be involved in that community. I want to be in that mosh pit, singing every single word with someone around my arm. With their sweat on me and my sweat on them. I mean, a little bit.
That's the part you enjoy the most.
Yeah, I'm not gonna deny that.
Well,
to be honest.
There's this band called Adept, and a few years back we're talking 10 years ago. Mike was there as well. We were at this gig with our friend Carl, and shout out to Carl. And there's this band called Adept, and one of their song at the time, actually don't even remember what it's called right now, but it was so much fun. Because about a minute in, there's a bit of a pause with a C word that I'm not sure we're allowed to say. Because I hear it's...
So we know what word you're going to say.
Exactly. And
Coldplay.
Basically, they're Coldplay.
Yes, Coldplay.
So, exactly. So the music stops. Exactly. The music stops. And the only people in the entire venue who knew this and sang Coldplay were Carl and I. So that really connects you to what's going on. It's like you're an insider in that.
Jacopo, stop saying Coldplay. It's rude.
Yeah. Didn't know you were a Coldplay fan as well, to be fair.
Anyway.
Well, let's say Coldplay in mind is synonymous to that other word.
All right. Should we finish up this? I want to talk about ratings. So what do we think? Jacopo, give me a rating out of 10. Go.
I want to encourage them, so let me give them a 7.
Nice. Good rating. I like that. That's really good. What about you, Ben?
I actually was going to go a 7 as well. Really like them, but want to see more before I start giving above that, basically.
Nice. Yeah, no, I'm going to give them a 6.5. I mean, for me, it's not really my sort of genre I always lean towards, but I do appreciate it, and I want to hear more from them. I want to see what comes out. Moving forward. So yeah, 6.5 for me, really.
Sounds good. Cool.
Yeah, well, next track is my track.
I'm looking forward to this.
I've been excited to share this one for a long time. When it first came out, I was so excited because I absolutely love this track. Also because it's different to their last stuff. So this next song is Trash Boat with He's So Good.